Okay, Fambulem, una good evening, una kaba, una kushe, how una de do bo? I hope say all is well. Honestly, comments then still the comments then still they coming. You know, the comments then still they coming. I've been so determined, you know, yeah, for go on with this program that is unbelievable that I'm not able to go ahead with the normal professional channel them way I can use. But however, I really not give up because I get a message for send. I mean, just about the time where they on top of me game, now in this particular thing happen. So it's unbelievable, but how for do? You get for be very strong, you get for be resilient, you know, you get for be determined, you get for make sure say you do what you want to do. But before I make any progress, I really want to apologize to everyone of now. I mean, people have been exceptionally patient with me. Really, I must say that, exceptionally patient. I must commend them because I mean, if not be myself, I dey wonder whether I will get the patience, you know, yeah, and the attitude for able for go through waiting me to go on. So to be honest, I wonder whether I go able for bear all of that because it not be really called for. But I've been determined say I want go on with them, so I still find a way instead of the normal professional way. I decide for do the unprofessional way where most people like to do. Because one thing is I determine again say this program, you know, for go on at all cost. I want to make one or two things, you know, yeah, really just fast and clear. Because we already don't be very late into the program. I just to see whether I go able to get people again for able for sign on. You know, and then join me in this all important program. And if you don't join me already, I'd ask you for do the usual ritual way now for click on the share button and invite friends and family. Will not be really need for do that today because the amount of people that will be non sign on. We get Canada, we get Australia as usual, we get the United States and here in continental Europe. But I still get me original message what I want to send. So I definitely go ahead and do just that. Okay, I'm definitely going to go ahead and do just that. But notwithstanding, thank you very much to all for the patient role and exercise. Okay, thank you so much for all. I guess some sisters and brothers will still the comments on the video them, even though the video not been good. But I mean, they've been very generous with me, you know, and not to everybody. Some people in a fire and I go they spit on me and they tell and they say all kind of things. But notwithstanding, I'm grateful and thank you so much to all. We say we continue with the program election special Sierra Leone decide and we make closing argument. I will say one or two things again and then I go move on. I go make some serious progress. Okay, I say one or two things and then I move on and make some serious process. Right. I've been so mean for talking today. Thank you to all of the people, you know, yeah, that we don't come, those that we've invited, those that have joined the program. And if you can click the share button on your gadgets that you're using to watch, you might as well do that and let me get people on board. Ladies and gentlemen, I must apologize, okay, for the delay and the rubbish. This was beyond me. I tried. And because I determined, I decided to go the unprofessional way when I for use my phone instead of the professional instrument. So my real apologies, but it will be good in any case. It should be good. Thank you very much for the one. Then we get thumbs up. And again, I must commend everybody we decide for join the show. Just when people ending at the height of the game, see what thing happen. It's unbelievable, and the amount of time and waiting for don't put into RAM. Okay, bring them on camera. Okay, that is if they call Gali. Okay, if they call, they will receive an invitation. They haven't accepted the invitation yet, but if they do, because the invitation has been sent and we've asked, So, ladies and gentlemen, you can add more people so that we can get along with the show. And of course, time is behind us, so we're gonna try to make some progress. But just give me 5 minutes, so I will kick off with this all-important program, ladies and gentlemen. I beg your pardon. Just give me 5 minutes, and then we will kick off with this all-important program. Very, very important tonight. It's important that we say exactly what we want to say so that people can understand. Remember, we are always trying to make informed choices to people so that whatever decision they make, it should be a salient, a good one, and you name it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to kick off. And we almost did not do this broadcast because of technical reasons. But if the Wilbur brothers were not determined, we will not be flying in aircraft. People sacrifices, okay? Telephone, telegraph, etc. Benefits that we are enjoying today, okay? So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Then and Now, and I'm your host and presenter, Mr. Prince Emil Kroma, coming to you today as we promised to do. Here we are. Two issues that will address quickly. Again, there are so many issues to address just before I kick off. Somebody asked me the amount of calls that I get in the background, but that is good. I don't take it, as an offense. I take it in a good way. The amount of calls that I get in the background advising and asking and doing other things is really, really many. And I really appreciate that. But one of the most serious one people ask me is, why do you broadcast in English? At first it was funny, but then it got serious because it wasn't only about this person. And then later on, I realized the reason why they are asking this, because it wasn't new anyway. At some point, I had people calling me from abroad and etc., telling me that I should broadcast in Creole, which I don't mind doing because I speak Creole very, very well. But the reason why because if you look at some of my earlier broadcasts, you will see that I did them in Creole. But because, ladies and gentlemen, this channel has got depth, so therefore, I started losing customers. I begin for lost customers. People and begin for go away because you don't expect people and they understanding every time. Now the same thing you talk with, and there's no reason for them being there. But this channel has got depth, and if you look at the chat room now, you go see we get people of all walks of life, almost so many different nationalities. So English now one common language. That's why I like for speaking, because then everybody can get engaged. Another thing where person asks me now the music working like for play. But I think the reason why they ask me this thing because we still struggle with acoustics. Okay, so you can hear the sound because we use some professional microphones, the boom mics. So you need for soundproof the entire studio. Okay, so the musical can play sometimes it can be very cracky. And imagine music, it means for touch your soul, it means for steer you on. So if you know the filter proper, imagine it's really annoying, and I understand exactly what you mean. And sometimes when I listen to the playback, it's unbelievable. But I must commend people because still people, they show solidarity. And this is very, very important. So the reason why I can play the music now, it's kind of used to me now, a kind of ritual because it can kind of warm me up. I hope this sets that tone. And as we go along, we'll try to find a way to make the music more okay so that everybody, both on the other side and this side, can enjoy things. Ladies and gentlemen, today we said that we were going to talk about retired Brigadier Maada Bio, and we're going to talk about the Sierra Leone People's Party. We said that we were going to be talking about, we are going to be making the closing argument, the case for the closing argument. There's an election upon us in a matter of days. When I say days, today is already almost the 5th. So we are talking about 2 days, then there's going to be a significant event in that country. Okay, so we were talking about the 3 major parties. We've dealt with Dr. Kande Yumkela's NGC, National Grand Coalition. We've made a closing case. We've also dealt with the ruling All People's Congress of Dr. Wilson Samora. We've made a closing argument. Today, we are making the closing argument for the Sierra Leone People's Party, headed by one-time head of state and retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio. But this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen, and this is interesting. I'm sure say the audio clear and the video so everybody, they see everybody. Okay? Something about the Sierra Leone People's Party, I want for let we remember, Sontende, when we begin to talk about the Sierra Leone People's Party, especially the origin, let's remember that it's one of the, if not the oldest party in the country. We sort of reminisce on names such as the father of the nation, the founding father of the nation, okay? The founding father of the nation. The founding father of the nation, Sir Milton Magai. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the thing where you use them kind of equipment there. You get people and where they invite them friends, which is very good. This is the process of networking that I always talk about on my shows. So I get for like physically add them, which is a good thing, and I appreciate all those that are doing it. It's very, very important, the process of networking. But let's get back straight away to action. When we talk about the Sierra Leone People's Party, we remember the founding father of the nation, Sir Milton Magai, may his soul rest in eternal peace. We remember names like by Farama Tas, by Farama Tas, of course. We remember people like by Shebora Yumkela, that's the father of the aspirant and leader of the National Grand Coalition. He was a founding father of the Sierra Leone People's Party. We remember powerful name, you know, here like Madam Ella Koblo Gulama. Imagine how unique the name is. That's how unique she was. These are the founding fathers of the Sierra Leone People's Party. Not forgetting by Koblo Patbana, SB Mara, Sir Albert Magai, a little bit dodgy, and the great Salia Jushu Sherif, Teacher Lagao, Lamina Sankor. Remember Lamina Sankor Street somewhere in Freetown, RGO King. People like John Nelson and John Nelson Williams, absolutely, and Gideon Thomas, and more formidable and household names like the late Honorable Manak Paka, the late John Aka, a man reputed to have written the national anthem, and Honoria Belokoka. There are so many of those names that exist now because people were named after these people. I know a sister somewhere in Reading, Honoria Belokoka. We all are from the Moyamba end of things. I am from Rotifunk, Pasanusi Mustafa. These are heavy names in the SLPP. And when these people got together and put the SLPP together, little did they know that what the SLPP is today would be what it is now. Little did they know that what the SLPP is today will be exactly what it is now. Okay? So, what we know about these people, that these people that I've just named, these are household names. These are historical names. Madam Ella Koblo Gulama. Very decent and nice name. It's a household name. By Koblo Pathbana. Okay? I'm just kind of in love with the names. That's why I'm repeating some of them. Okay? By Faramatas. Shebora Yumkela. These kind of names were associated with the Sierra Leone People's Party from the onset. And these were respectable men and women of their time. And even today, I just hope they are written proper in the historical narratives of that country so that the children yet unborn will come and read about these people because they did make some significant contributions to that particular country. These people were decent people and they had some principles and values that they cherish. They had some principles and values that they significantly cherish. But today, what they aspired then, yes, Mr. Hamilton, welcome. Yeah, let me just acknowledge some people quickly because they are telling me hi, and I have to reply. Mr. Roland Hamilton, hi, I'm sure you're at your shop. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget about Mingles. We'll have a program on our shops and networking at some point. Sister Ivonella Ayo, hello there. Bernie Abu, hello. How you doing, my sister? God bless. And hello to all as we get by. Kevin Kinsley Williams, okay? And so many others are watching, and I will acknowledge people as we get along. I want to tell you all that I'm really, really grateful for being patient with me. You know, yeah, despite all the odds that happened, you know, we should have kicked off with this show by 8 o'clock. We were ready, went live, and then all kind of technical problems. But that's the past we're talking about now. So we're talking about, yeah, Amadou Koroma, good. How are you, sir? I hope all is well. We're talking about the Sierra Leone People's Party, and we are calling the names of the great founders of this party. Angela Aminata Sori Kamara. Hello, my sister. How are you? we're talking about the Sierra Leone People's Party, and we're talking about the names that were associated with this party going back. Great names such as Chief Pat Bana by Koblo Pat Bana, SB Mara Ela Koblo Gulama by Shebora Yumkela, by Farama Tas, Sir Milty Maga, of course, and his brother, his half-brother, Sir Albert. These people founded the Sierra Leone People's Party. But today, this party is not as those people envisage this party to have been. And this is what we are talking about today. And the man who happens to be the head of the party. So today, we are associating the Sierra Leone People's Party to retired Brigadier, one-time head of state, Julius Maada Bio. I want to make this clear, ladies and gentlemen. Out of respect for his legendary past, I know some people will question this. We've had discussions on the outside before. But then we need to go and revisit the word legendary, a legend. We really need to go, if you hold offense to that, if you've got a different take on it, a different view, the context in which I'm using it, I think is applicable to retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio. So I'm saying, out of respect for his legendary past, and this is, I said the context earlier on, both as a soldier who arguably fought to defend his country, and I repeat, these are things I know that splits the country somewhere right through the middle. But these are just things that happens to be facts, okay? He signed on to the army as a young man, and I'm understanding that he opted out of school to join the army. This is quite commendable. This is quite heroic, if this is the case. And we haven't heard an argument on the other. So it stands out as if this is the case. So I'm saying, out of respect for his legendary past, both as a soldier and arguably a man who fought to defend his country, and as a former head of state, which was the most significant. And also, it doesn't stop there. The man who apparently started the Second Republic. Most of the things that I've said here are facts. And people, we know this, or we can research this because it does exist. Okay? He was a former head of state. He kickstarts the Second Republic with the process that we are now enjoying today by doing a peaceful transition. We are not talking about how, but we're talking about what he did them. Let's set the parameters. They are clear. So out of respect for his legendary past, both as a soldier who arguably fought for his country and as a former head of state, ladies and gentlemen, and also a man who is alluded largely to have kickstarted the Second Republic by doing a peaceful transition of power from the military to the civilian government, in a process which we do enjoy today. And now, looking at the entire political landscape, our political landscape, these things cannot be denied. So what I intend to do in this broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, I repeat, what I intend to do in this broadcast, it must be made absolutely clear, is I want to look at three aspects, okay? I want to look at three aspects of General Bio. Three aspects of General Bio in this broadcast. And these three aspects are a general biography of General Bio. I repeat, a general biography of General Bio. Okay? A general biography of General Bio. His rise to prominence, and basically my opinions and beliefs, which are largely going to be theoretical, but with some degree of circumstantial evidence. I repeat, from all what I've said about the party, the Sierra Leone People's Party, which is now headed by retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, and out of respect for some of the things that are alluded to him in a positive way, which is A, he handed over power to a civilian government, thus kick-starting a process that we are now enjoying today. He was a former military man, okay? These are things that we cannot deny, that he's made notable changes on our political landscape, and we are all beneficiaries of that process. So to look at this entire thing about this man and the Sierra Leone People's Party, I've decided to look at 3 aspects for the sake of this broadcast. A, that would be his general biography, which I'm not going to delay on because the man is a public figure and we know him very well. Let me just acknowledge some people quickly. Mr. Amadou Koroma, that happened reluctantly. I'm going to be reading commentary as well. We know this is going to be, kind of toxic. We're going to see some antagonism and some sarcasm. So that happened forcibly. That's what he's saying. Kenneth Cooper is watching. Kenneth Cooper, my friend, how are you? That's my schoolmate many, many years ago, a real brother and a friend. Amadou Kroma, Bintumani 1 and 2, remember. Okay, yes, we do remember, Amadou. So we're not talking about the process itself. We're talking about what happened. We don't want to question that, but we know that it happened. Thanks, Kenneth. We're just trying to network, and let's keep it real, brother. I really appreciate that you sign on and say thank you so much and hi to the family. How is the United States? How is everything? I hope all is well. Yes, Amadou Koroma, we remember, a lot of people are signed on to this program, remember peace before elections and what have you. But we could spend a lot of time if we want to dwell into that. Mohamed Alaji Conte wants to be in your... Mohamed, I didn't read that to the end. But Amadou, just to continue, we could, continue into that process and start looking in deeply. But I'm going to touch into that a little bit because we don't have time. I wish we had started earlier because I intended to make this program an hour program. So again, we'll just touch on 3 aspects. His general biography, which I'm not going to waste any time on, his rise to prominence, and basically I'm going to weigh in with some opinions, which is sort of strange on this channel because we tend not to want to weigh our opinions in. We just want to provide the information so that people can weigh in based on the information that we've provided. But like I say, the opinions and beliefs, that I hold are largely theoretical, but I'm going to back it up with some circumstantial evidence, and I'm sure that's going to trigger some debate in the chat room. Okay, Hadassah Impression Unique is watching. Yeah, okay, Hadassah, thank you, my sister. How are you? How are you? How you doing? I hope all is well. I hope all is well. Let me just add some people quickly. Rose, welcome to the show, my friend. Yeah, welcome to the show. Okay, so I'm saying I'm not going to spend a lot of time on his biography. The second aspect is going to be his rise to prominence. And then my opinions and beliefs, which are largely theoretical, but with some degree of circumstantial evidence, which I'm also going to talk about and show some of the circumstantial evidence, tangible ones, because they did exist. All right? So here we go. We therefore now ask the question, who then is retired? After having said all of this, we ask the question, who then is retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio? What does he want? Has he got unfinished business? Okay? Has he got unfinished business? Ladies and gentlemen, the modem that I'm using today, Sheko Ture, welcome. Sister Imambe, Kadi Kamara, welcome. Hadassah Impression Unique, welcome, my sister. Seku John Barry, welcome. The system that I'm using is strange to me because I'm used to professional, your sort of system. So I see a lot of pop-ups coming on my screen, and I hope I don't touch something. Emmanuel, hello, are you there? Hello? Hello? Hello?
I'm sorry.
Well, it's like I've got someone, here on the phone or something. But I hope you're getting me. Maybe I was to bring Sekuba John wants you to bring on the video. Okay, no worries. There's a lot of things happening on the screen, and this is strange to me. I haven't used this method before, but we will learn as we go. We will learn as we go. Gentlemen, let me just make a quick progress, okay? So we ask the question then, who then is retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio? What does he really want? I'm talking about within the context of what is happening now on the political scene. What does he want? He was one-time head of state. Okay, he handed over power to a civilian government.
What does he really want? Has he got unfinished business? There were many other questions that I asked in the previous broadcast on the professional set, but unfortunately it wasn't to be, so we had to call that off. So I said I was going to deal with three aspects of the retired Brigadier Maada Bio. So we start off with saying, we started off with saying we will deal with the general biography, the three aspects, and we will not waste time on his general biography. Hello, Mr. Mohammed. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, thank you very much, Mr. Prince. How are you? Long time.
Yeah, really long time. It's been quite a while. You look well, my brother. I hope all is well with the family.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Before I go any further with you, I just want to commend you and all the rest of the others that are watching this program. I should have kick-start this program at 8 o'clock, my brother. I developed some real technical problems. I almost gave up. But if the Wilbur brothers who invented the aircraft had given up, by now we will not be flying home and back. So I decided to be resolute, and here we are. I'm sure you got something to say or contribution or question to ask. You're welcome to the show, my friend.
Yes, Mr. Prince. Absolutely. It's a manifestation that you're doing a fantastic job. And it's the reason why we stay put until the sounds and you resolve the technical issues that we were facing with earlier on. You asked the question, who is Julius Maada Bio? He is nothing less than a desperado, I would say. And besides, he's got an unfinished business. And it's the reason why we've seen the Usuboy, the likes of the Usuboy. You name prominent Northerners. Let me set the record straight. You name prominent Northerners who are founding members of this glorious party. I won't hesitate to say this. Of course, you can attest to that I'm the opposite side. But believe you me, these are the two parties that we all know, the APC and the SLPP party. But believe you me, Maada Bio has destroyed this party. That is to say, the ideas, the vision, the mission that the founding fathers had then have been destroyed because of this person called Maada Bio. As I said, he's nothing less a desperado. Believe me, there are conspiracy theories and different schools of thought. I don't want to go into details actually that actually makes him became the how is it called, the head of state of our country. It's rather unfortunate by overthrowing Valentine Strasser. He has nothing to me. He's not an admirable character to me, as a matter of fact, because the whole process was engineered by the SLPP by then to hand over power to hand over power peacefully, with the promise that when he returns after his studies, they will do the same by handing over to him. Hence the reason why they have this nomenclature called pauper. These are the promises. Otherwise, someone will not stay in power successively without someone challenging him. So the likes of Usuboy challenging him, believe you me, he will kick him out. And he succeeded, he kicked him out. Then again, look at other prominent names. The likes of Yonkela, the son of a founding member. Then now, we're talking about this, how is it called? The very recent man who actually deflected to the APC again. You know, it's a testament that this whole thing is because Chief Captain. These are all Northerners. You know, it sends a signal, it sends a message that no Northerner would actually, or no Northerner is fit to rule the SLPP. Instead of actually reigniting the flames that the founding members started, this man instead is quenching the flame that they started by killing that spirit. And to some extent, I will say, oh, being in the opposite part, I will say I'm happy because, make no mistake, the SLPP is the main opposition to the APC. You like it or you leave it. It's a statement of fact, and it's a fact that cannot be erased. You know, but come on, any country that wants to prosper, you must have or rely on a strong opposition. Otherwise, we go back to the drawing board. Those days that we have a one-party system of governance. You know, and me personally, as a Sierra Leonean, a patriotic Sierra Leonean, I don't want that to happen, you know. But this man is damaging this political party, this beautiful party, because when you trace the history of this party, it's a beautiful party. But then let me remind you, having said that though, I must antagonize some certain facts as well. When you trace the history of the SLPP, remember Sheikha Stevens was a founding member of the SLPP. He later on left them. Why? As a result of elections before independence. I just want to remind you again. So the same thing happened again. Elections before peace. These people are desperados. Believe you me, take it or you leave it. History repeats itself. You know, they are desperados no matter what. They just want to hold on power, no matter what it costs them. Do you know how many people Maada Bio killed during his reign of power? Innocent people. And back to the SLPP, when he handed over the so-called transition, peaceful transition you're talking about, let me tell you that they actually replicate. They're replicating themselves. Make no mistake, SLPP is SLPP. So we've seen all these events unfolding. You know, it sends a clear message that these people, monkey, not they left in black can. Maada Bio is nothing less a desperado. And believe you me, by the time he finished, SLPP, count on my words, to be honest with you, by the time after this election, when APC becomes victorious, believe you me, SLPP will be nowhere to be seen because they are broke.
That lead me because I felt a bit tempted, you know, here to ask you this, but I was kind of judging myself, and I've been want to reserve this, you know, here for the final closing argument in a few days' time. I think in 2 days' time. But while she there online live, I'm tempted to ask you if you can break down some statistics to me as to the process where they unfold now in the country. Which way do you think is going to go, my good friend?
Mr. Prince.
Yes, sir.
To be honest with you, you go access say you know who's the answer they come out. But as a matter of fact, let me tell you, let's put things in context. The political demography in our country. Make no mistake. We have how many districts now? 14? To be honest with you, let's divide
one more,
and let's make things realistic here. If APC is controlling the Western area, assuming that plus or minus 70%, just 70%, and they bring and come down. You understand? I won't make a projection of 80 or 90%. Let's say 70% Western area. And Western area has 1/3 of the country's population, right? So just that, Port Loko district, which is the most populated district in our country, and then minus, let's say, Cambia district is one way or the other now becoming a swing based on the fact that Yom Kela has its own share there. And then Tonkolili, a traditional APC stronghold, wherein we normally have 90+% Tonkolili district. Let's say we reduce all those percentages to 80, plus or minus 70 or 80%. Believe you me, this is a statement of fact. APC is winning the elections. At the sleep at the wake, you know, at the sleep at the wake now say APC don't win the elections. It's still the most popular party in the country. Make no mistake. There are challenges though. There are challenges. People are fearing, say, oh no, Yom Kela, Yom Kela, Yom Kela. Yes. But look what happened during the rally of Yom Kela. You understand?
Somebody just the contest, what you just say earlier on, the person clearly say it's impossible for the APC get 70% in the Western area.
I want to let you ask that person there if he been votes. If he was he following actually the political development in our country for the past 2 elections? You yourself can attest to that. What was the percentage of APC? We win all the seats and force the last elections. In Western area,
Koroma,
everything. You know,
Mr. Koroma, you've heard
it. Answer to this question, Amadou Koroma. You know, I will assure you that Western area APC will still maintain more than 70% votes. That's a statement of fact.
Mr. Conte,
Yes.
I want to let you save that fire there for 2 days time, because I really they look to exciting prospect in 2 days time, because I see say you don't begin going to your elements now, you know, yeah, in terms of confidence and optimism. But I really want to let you reserve them in 2 days, because on this program, ladies and gentlemen, in 2 days time, that is on the eve of elections, we are going to be holding a carnival or jamboree, whichever way you want to describe them. So as this process, they outplay back home, we will be here celebrating it, whether you are red, whether you are green or rainbow or whatever. Remember that we are one. So we're going to be asking everybody to call this channel and make some offer, just like what Mr. Conte is doing now, doing some predictions, cracking the figures, doing the maths, and you name it. So at the big, I want to let you say,
I've done my variance, I've done my statistics, I've drawn my variance. I'm telling you now, if you want me, I will give you, say, the first time with a win. All for all. Believe you me, we're not going second rounds at all. And let me just interject, please. Let me just interject. This man is talking about rigging. Whosoever is talking about rigging, I want to let people trace back the history between the SLPP and the APC. Believe you me, let we know who that them gets that tradition and therefore rig election. And one of the facts where SLPP under the leadership of Maada Bio just bring up, it talk about a video where they circulate. Except you are a fool, but if you then on your social media, they see where it talks say SLPP never won that elections. You know what he do. You understand? You can attest to this fact as a matter of fact, Mr. Prince. You know, you saw that video. You understand? Where Maada Bio they claim say he rigged the election for the SLPP. We know that. We know some of them facts here. When we go back during the SLPP and APC and Sheki in time, when that transition, the way Sheki left SLPP and can be part of the APC. Waiting at some of them facts and waiting the APC be endure now the hands of the SLPP. Whether in certain areas there are no go areas for the APC. We know the rig elections. The most transparent observers they don't come. Would they do them peacefully? You cry foul, it's your business, but we they do them very, very transparent and make sure see, because as a matter of fact, how many times SLPP don't provoke the APC? We're not going to fight with them. Sometimes they chop their legs and then they cry foul again. Then they chop themselves and they cry foul.
All right,
we not get that tradition.
Mr. Conte, Mr. Conte, you got to hold your fire there. You see, now the same thing I say. I really want to let you reserve this energy into 2 days. 2 days from now, I really want to let you reserve them, and I hope so you come back on the channel.
They do the last push. I know they reserve them. Now the last push. Sometimes the way you lecture person, so man, a rate of absorption is very slow. You understand? So man get fixed concepts about certain things. So you actually need for come and sensitize them people here for let them see reason and understand say APC is here to stay. And at the only party.
I agree with you, and everybody go get equal time, you know, yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it. The reason why they interject back again is like because we drift away, you know, yeah, from the real issue, which is today the Sierra Leone People's Party are supposed to, in leader, retire brigadier, instead of they can make them all together like an APC. The APC part will come where this analysis will become really relevant. I've been just want a gist of them and for provoke the chat room, which you've done. You've made it lively, and I want to let you reserve, you know, yeah, the thoughts.
I hope so you will call me back like I'm for antagonize any other thing with any other speaker.
Definitely, I will do. I enjoyed your analysis. You said it very powerful, my friend, and I don't think you know, yeah, you could say any better, except maybe on a different day. But you give us a little brief. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for that brief lull. Somebody actually upset, you know, here and decide for call straight away for rebut waiting the last speaker just say. So hopefully it will come through another way. And the chat room is getting really lively, ladies and gentlemen. It's really, really getting lively. really getting lively. And I see a lot of people are asking to be added because they want to make comments and etc. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it going. I need to make some progress. I really need to make some progress. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about retired brigadier, one-time head of state, arguably the father of democracy, with the man who handed over power to a civilian government that is allowing us to enjoy a process which we call democracy today. These are facts and cannot be changed, cannot be altered. You can question, the surrounding, what went on in the back rooms and etc. But at the end, it did happen. Mr. Mark Robinson, welcome, my dear friend and brother. I really appreciate you on the program. Thank you for signing on. I want to acknowledge some few people before I make progress. Mr. Kenneth Williams, welcome, sir. Welcome to the program. I wish I could respond to my friend Mohammed, but busy at Mingles now. That's from Mr. Roland Hamilton. Mr. Roland, we're around for a while, and probably I hope you could find time to respond. And I know other people are trying to respond, but it could be maybe in 2 days' time, because that's going to be a lengthy broadcast in which everybody is going to have their say, and it's going to be almost like a basketball game when you can leave and then come back. Okay? Mr. Amadou Koroma, head of state for 90 days. But at least he was head of state. He had ambassadors. He was recognized internationally. Mr. Maada, welcome to the show, my friend. I want to welcome Sister Mariatu of the APC. Welcome to the show, my sister. Okay, I need to make a little bit of progress anyway. I said I was going to use 3 aspects to look at General Bio, former retired Brigadier Bio, and the Sierra Leone People's Party. First of all, I said his biography, which is I'm going to be very brief about, because everybody here, I suppose, knows Bio. Bio is a public person. Everybody knows him. We know his biography, so I'm just going to scant over it. The second part will be how he came into prominence. The brother who called earlier on has dealt with some points deeply, and I want to touch on those problems. I really want to touch on problems. Okay? Mr. Joe Solomon Tucker, you need to make a request, and I will add you, and then you can join the forum and make your call. Yeah. You can join and make your call. I know you really want to rebut what Mr. Conte was alluding to. I've already given you the clearance, so you should be able to talk to us. You should be able to talk to us. Yeah, Mr. Joe Solomon Tucker, you should be able. You're trying to respond, but what is going on? They will receive an invitation. Joe, you need to relax. You will receive the invitation. Okay. You will receive the invitation. As you just relax, my brother. I've already sent you the invitation and you will receive it. Okay? If you don't, just let me know again, but I've already done so. Just be a bit patient. That's for Mr. Tucker. Okay? So let me make a bit of a progress. So anyway, we do know that Brigadier Bio is about 53 years old because he was born around May 12, or he was born on May 12, 1964. I do know this on top of my head as well because he's a year older than me, okay? And in a village called Tihum, in a chiefdom called Sobwini. That's where he was born. And that's in Banff district in southeastern Sierra Leone. That's the southern province. He was number 33 of 35 children. Remember Paramount Chiefs? Yes, Joe, I've got your message. I've added you, my brother. I've sent you the invitation. You need to acknowledge that invitation. Okay, you've heard me now. Okay, you need to acknowledge that invitation and you will come on live. Okay, I believe that's how it works. I'm not too familiar with this as well because I use a different set. So, okay, he was born, he had 33 out of 35 children to a paramount chief. We know these things, they are not strange when it comes to paramount chiefs. Some of them got 60. Wonderful number of children because they've got so many wives. Okay, and his dad's name was Charlie Bio II, and he was the paramount chief, I think, for a chiefdom called Sogwin. Okay, the old man was known to have 9 wives, but that's the old man. But we're talking about Bio, who happens to be a Mende by ethnicity and a Roman Catholic. Bio is a Mende by ethnicity and a Roman Catholic. We know that he began his primary school education at the Roman Catholic Primary School. That's where he was born, in the village of Tihun in Bond District. And at some point, he went on to Bo School. Okay. Sister Nancy from Canada, welcome to the show. Sister Hawa Kamara, welcome to the show. And Sanko Kabo, Emmanuel Rex Rosé from Freetown, welcome to the show, my friend. Vote wisely, Sierra Leoneans. That's for my young friend in Sierra Leone. Mr. Frederick Coy is watching. Welcome, Mr. Coy. Okay. So today, for those of you who are just joining, we are talking about the Sierra Leone People's Party under the leadership of Brigadier Bio. We are asking a couple of questions as to whether General Bio, retired brigadier, hijacked the party. We also ask other questions as opposed to, has he got unfinished business? What does he want? He's been a head of state before. Somebody actually broke down a lot of what we want to talk about regarding Brigadier General Bio. Jupiter M. Kabar from the United States. Welcome, my friend. Okay. Joe Solomon Tucker is saying that he is a Shabro. Okay. Thank you for the correction. Anyway, I was just looking. I did a little bit of research on him today, and everything that I saw was alluding to him being a Mendi. I've heard words as well that he's Shabro. So I thought so, but looking at some document which I thought was official, it said Mende. So anyway, Mr. Tucker, your correction is noted. And for the followers, yes, somebody has just said that he's Shabro. Okay, so this is how much we know about him, that he went to a primary school in where he was born in Tihu and later went to the boys' school. This was a school that was reputed to be of some kind of class because it was organized by colonial masters for the purpose of, it was an exclusive boys' school. So because it was exclusive, it was mainly attended by the affluent in the society back in the countryside. So mostly it had to be about chiefs. You'll find that mostly those boys that went there came from affluent homes. And Bio, who happened to have been the son of a paramount chief, was fortunate to use that connection to have gone to Bo School, of a school of high reputable standard. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about retired brigadier, one-time head of state, General Bio, not General, retired Brigadier Bio. Okay, we said we are going to look at 3 aspects for the sake of this broadcast. That's why I said to you, ladies and gentlemen, that we'll look at 3 aspects of General Bio, which is his general biography, which I'm dealing with now, his rise to prominence, and basically my opinions, which we don't normally do on this channel, and my beliefs largely, which is going to be theoretical, but I'm going to back it with some bit of circumstantial evidence, and that is to come. And just before I do, a brother tried to break that down to us, and I'm going to go into that same direction. But remember, I said we'll deal with the biography first, and then we'll go into how he came to prominence. And this is really critical in the narrative that I'm about to bring up. First of all, in terms of his schooling, there are conflicting evidence. I mean, I stand to be corrected in the chat room. There are conflicting evidence about his attempt to attend the Farabe College University, which is the creme de la creme up to this day. But back then, goodness me, it had reputation the world over. Bio opted for the army instead. He attempted to register, but later on had a change of heart, a change of mind. Now, to me and to many others, this was a heroic deed. This was a heroic deed. You may disagree, you may agree, we can disagree to agree. DJ Double, welcome to the show, my friend. You may disagree, you may agree, we can disagree to agree. But there are reports out there that he wanted to go to Farabe College, and I think when he was in his 20s or so, back in 1985, somewhere around there, but later on had a change of heart and decided to go into the army. To me, that was a noble deed, because if we understand the context of the army as an institution, and a young man who had an opportunity to go to university, but decided to go the other way, the army, understanding the context which the army institution stands in or stands for, then this was a heroic and noble deed. But was there something else to this? This is why I said largely my opinion is going to weigh in how Bio came into prominence, but it's largely going to be theoretical, and then we support it with some bit of circumstantial evidence. Okay, so how did Bio came to become, managed to become a head of state of the country? Of course, we knew that he overthrew his friend and longtime comrade, Valentine Strasser, which is making a lot of people upset. I don't know, they've got their reasons why, but Captain Strasser himself did overthrow someone, and there are many other things that happened during that period. So I don't think that's a case strong enough. And he gave us a reason as to why he did. But let me not jump the gun, okay? What we're now beginning to understand, that there was a lot of politics, okay? There was a lot of power politics played, and we just need to rewind the time. Hello, Sister Sarah Wula Tarawali. Welcome to the show, my sister. We just need to rewind the time, okay? That when he overthrew his friend, you have to ask yourself, what were the circumstances? But of course, he did provide the circumstances, which is his friend was becoming uncomfortable with an agreement that they had. His friend, I'm talking about Captain, the former head of state, Captain Valentine Strasser, was kind of deviating. According to Bio, he said this publicly. This is not secret, it's not hidden. That he was becoming uncomfortable with a plan. What was the plan? The plan was to hand over to a civilian government. Okay? The plan was to hand over to a civilian government. Okay, I was just trying to add a sister who is just joined, Sister Sarah. Welcome to the show again. So there was so much politics, there was so much skullduggery involved at that earlier stage. But those of us, you know, yeah, the layman, I like to call it, not in the know, not walking the corridors of power, only could see with the ordinary eyes what the ordinary eyes itself could see. But somewhere, something else is happening beyond our understanding. And this is what we've been made to understand, that beyond this, there was a lot going on in that particular background. So when I said we need to rewind the time, we need to look at what the timeline was then. And let me just jog your memories a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, that during this period that we are talking about, we had a one-party system in place. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a one-party system in place. Mr. Sheku Toure, I'll just read some comments quickly. Mr. Mohamed Alaji Conte, it's a blatant lie. He was desperate to hold on to power and pave way for the SLPP. Okay? He was desperate to hold on to power and pave way for the SLPP. I think, Mr. Conte, that's the direction I'm going. I'm just beginning to develop my argument in that direction. Thank you very much. Mr. Sheku Toure says, the APC endorses Bio by appointing 5 ministers that served under Bio. None of those guys resigned their position. The only difference is that Bio is a Southern and Frank Kago, the other, cannot be. There is so much said here. Brother Sheikh, why not call? Cannot be criticized due to the fact that he's APC. Brother Sheikh, it would be nice for you to call. We've had a strong view from Mr. Conte earlier on. We've got other people trying to contest what Mr. Conte said, which will have made this debate or discussion very interesting. Unfortunately, 2 of the people cannot come through. One is very busy. The other, I think, is finding it difficult trying to come live. But I hope he will find a way to come live. I've already sent him an invitation, so he should be able to come live. But we are talking about a lot of politics that was happening in the background, and I was just saying we need to rewind the time and see what was happening during that period. That during that period in the early 80s or mid-80s, we had a one-party system in place. And the SLPP, which was a major party, the party of Chief Patbana, Madam Koblo Ella Gulama, Sir Milton Magai, Chief Shebora Yumkela, was already consigned somewhere I don't want to name. And they were finding it difficult coming back, and they had to find a way to come back. Do you see the narrative that I'm trying to twist here? Do you see the circumstantial evidence that I'm trying to present here in this closing argument? That there at least was a case. This was a major party. The APC had swallowed it up, had taken over some of its members, called them to serve in the one-party state. Some of them took the offer. I remember as a boy, I did witness those things happening. So the SLPP was really confined to the dustbin, to the garbage then, because they were almost like non-existent. But they were in the back. They never went away. They never just took it away and decided to, relax on it. They went into the boardrooms. They went into the think tanks, what a white man called think tank. That's what the SLPP did. Remember, this party was a party of intellectuals. And it is the intellectualism that they brought into this that managed to bring them back to power, because they managed through intrigue, political connections, skullduggery, dirty politics, and highly intellectual games. They managed to manipulate and maneuver and found their way back into power. This is what we have been made to understand. Mr. John Kanu, welcome to the program, my friend. He overthrew Strasser because he had an intention to propel the SLPP to governance. Yes, Sister Bani Abu, welcome to the show, my sister. I can see you live. Ayodele Sylvie, welcome, my sister, always there for the program. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can see exactly where I'm trying to take this, that first of all, there was reason available for what we're saying happened to happen. So there was a motive, okay? The SLPP is a major party, and then the APC had all but swallowed the entire country in terms of declaring a one-party state. The country was no longer practicing, neither were they enjoying multi-partyism. So SLPP, a major party, had been confined into the doldrums of posterity. No, they will not have it lying down. They had to formulate something. So they started all these convoluted plans in the back rooms, in the boardrooms, in basements, in living rooms, in the colleges, under the guise of intellectual debates. That's what they did. And the APC at the time, under General Momo, could not pick up these activities. They could not pick up these activities. Remember, the approaches into coming back had to be on a multifaceted approach, not on a singular approach, like we're only going to do it from the intellectual level. No. Remember, for you to be successive in power or succeed in power, you have to have the military machine on your side. You have to have the law machine on your side, the police and the army. Look, ladies and gentlemen, let's face it, this is how government operate. Yes, they can be civilian, but behind the civility, there is the army, there is the police. They can come one after the other when it becomes necessary. That's why sometimes you are caught, how do they call it? The name has just slipped me. Somebody has also commented. Somebody has just commented. They have transformed the traditional SLPP to a southeastern fraternity, hence the reason Bio is ready to eliminate any northerner. So, if this was the case, or is the case, did Bio then hijack the party? Is this the unfinished business that we spoke about earlier on, ladies and gentlemen? Is this actually the unfinished business? So what we are saying here is like, the SLPP had a reason, and then they went into the back rooms and started formulating policies that would bring them to power. You know, there was so much secrecy, and this was carefully crafted that somehow along the way, if it were true indeed, in the end, it did work. Somebody is just asking to be added. So somehow you always get, you're always going to be disturbing the theme. This is why I don't like this particular program. Okay? Somebody is asking to be added. I don't know why, but maybe they might come. Mr. Conte Mohammed, you need to let people know how they can come on live. Yeah, you need to let people know how they can come on live, okay? Because I keep adding them, but for some reason they can't come live. You provoked an argument earlier on, and some people really felt antagonized by it and wanted to respond ASAP, but could not because of the system. Okay? So if you can let people know how, that would be a good thing. So ladies and gentlemen, here we go. So at the same time, remember, while the APC had declared a single party state, the SLPP was trying carefully crafting a way on how to come back into power. This is big time power politics. They're not going to just take it lying down. So all kind of things happen. Did you ever, or can you remember the Civil War? Up to this day, some of us are confused. Where did it come from? How did it come about? We do know certain things, like the country was in a bad shape. And when the country is in a bad shape, as it were, and let's face it, Sierra Leone was a failed state. It was a completely failed state. The APC government at some point could not even import kerosene, a basic commodity, for a crude commodity, but was basic for her people, could not import kerosene. Can you imagine? An entire government. And the situation was just worse, that people were living almost magically. Let's be honest. Let's face the honest fact. And they were in charge of the security apparatus at the same time. So nothing could happen from within. It had to happen from without. This is what happened. So then, if this is the case, also a motive is hereby present that the SLPP, does the name strike a bell to you, Ali Kaba? Do we know where he is today? Do we know what he is? Do we know what he was then? Does that name strike a bell? Both in the then and the now? So we know that a rebellion was started. But we can surely say that this was not started by the APC, because sure enough, they were in power. As disgruntled they were, they did not start it. They have transformed the traditional SLPP to a Southeastern fraternity. Yeah, hence the reason Bio is ready. I think I've read that. Abedi Boateng, my friend, welcome to the program. So this rebellion was started clearly by people who had some affiliation, because I don't know for sure wholesomely, but definitely had some affiliation with the Southerners. Remember that it was the Northerners that was in power. Fact. So the people who started the rebellion had some Southern tinge to it. Now, we now know that even Brigadier Bio's sister, an elder sister, was a rebel commando. So whilst he was an head of state, which we'll come to shortly, the sister was also out there on the opposite side with the rebels. Sheikh Couture has just posted a long one again. DJ Dauda Dabo, of course, I will invite you to come into the program. Ladies and gentlemen, just give me a minute. Let me just get my connection. Stay on the line. This is getting interesting. This is getting interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really sorry about this. Of course, I wasn't prepared to use this crude method I'm using. So I'm just going along the way and trying to make it fit in. Okay? I'm just going along the way and trying to make sure that we continue with this broadcast. And we're doing our level best, trying to make sure that this broadcast remains as it's supposed to be. And I thank you very much for being that patient with me. We are going to make progress soon. We are going to make progress soon, ladies and gentlemen. Just bear with me. Just get this in so we know exactly where we are. We know exactly where we are. This is so unbelievable. You know, I'm doing my professional thing and I have to resort to this. Okay. See, once again, I'm just struggling to get it right. But somehow we're gonna have to get it right. Okay. Well, sincere apologies. I'm just trying to get me charger. Thank you. Somebody showing some understanding with some thumbs up. Right, okay. We're getting some kind of charge. We are getting some kind of charge. Okay. Right. Mr. Hassan Mara, welcome to the show, my brother. I hope all is well. Right. I hope all is well. Okay, I was just trying to make progress earlier on exactly where we are. Okay. So I'm making the case for those of you who are just joining. First of all, my apologies. I was running out of charge. I'm not used to doing this on this particular channel. Got a different channel, a professional channel that I do it on. So my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, my apologies, my sincere apologies. So I was just making the case for General Bio and the SLPP. I was saying that if we wind back the time, if we jog our memories, Prince Nene Johnson, welcome to the show, my friend. If we jog back our memories just a short while ago, because 10, 20 years, you know, we'll consider it under the circumstances as a short while ago, we had a single party system, and the people that were in power were the Northerners. So there was a reason for the Southerners who have been consigned to history. The SLPP, a major party, a party of Chief Shebora Yumkela, a party of Madam Edda Koblo Gulama, Chief Patbana, had been consigned to history. They could not have it, so they used their intellectuals. Remember, the Southerners are known for being intellectuals. They used the corridors of education, the colleges, the campuses, their living rooms, their basements, to begin to hatch a plan. They did not just stop at academic, they also went into other services. They recruited their brothers and friends. And this is where the story really, really gets interesting, ladies and gentlemen. This is where the story really, really gets interesting, because what we have been made to understand is one of the reasons. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I said I was going to look at this in three aspects, okay? First of all, want to show respect for the legendary past of former Brigadier General, retired Maada Bio, in the context of him being a soldier and as a former head of state. Remember, when he signed on, it was to defend his country. If there were other reasons, we don't know. But when you sign on to the army, it's to defend your country. And as a young man, that was a brave, that was a noble, and that was a patriotic act. That's what he did. So I want to pay respect to that, okay? He was also the man who kick-started the Second Republic, which we are enjoying the benefits today in terms of flying away with the word democracy, democracy. You can contest the reason why, but I'm talking about the action itself. It was done. That's a physical fact, okay? So I said, for the interest of this broadcast and the man himself, I was going to look at three aspects. One, a general biography, which I didn't waste no time on because he's a public figure. Most of us, if not all of us, already know who he is. Secondly, his rise to prominence, which I was just dealing with, along with the last part of the aspects that I was going to deal with, which is my opinion and beliefs, which are largely theoretical. But I will also try to provide some circumstantial evidence, which I'm also doing. So I'm saying that retired Brigadier General Bio, we ask the question, what does he want? Who is he? Has he got some unfinished business? Why do they call him Paupa? Why is he not just going away? Okay, now we're beginning to look at a case that he was recruited, allegedly, by the same intellectuals. So the Southerners recruited their son to become eventually a soldier, led a coup, not lead a coup, but was part of a coup, and later, to action the plan, he overthrew his friend and his longtime friend and longtime comrade in the army, former head of state, Valentine Strasser, Captain Valentine Strasser. So he himself became head of state. When he became head of state, he told us that the reason why he overthrew his friend and brother was because Captain Strasser, according to Maada Bio, he's made this public, this is no secret, was becoming very uncomfortable with the plans that they had. Now one will ask, which plans did they have? The plans that they had was to hand over power to civilian government. That's the plan that they had, to hand over power to a civilian government. And according to Julius Maada Bio, Captain Strasser was becoming really, really uncomfortable with that. So we are saying when they at one point they ran down to Freetown and took over the reins of government, because remember I was just developing the argument on that. First of all, that there's a basis for them to do what they did. The Southerners had been consigned to history. So it appeared, because the APC was in control. But it was a failed state. So there was a lot of disgruntled people. I mean, a government that could not import kerosene, a crude but basic commodity for its people, that could not provide flour for bread to be baked for its people to eat. That is not a proper government. So there was a lot of disgruntled people, but they could not do much, because within the same government was in control of the few arms and military and security apparatus in the country. They were in control of the army. The army was in tatters. Morale was down. The police was the same. Morale was down, because that's how they govern. So a change was needed, and the SLPP saw this as a chance. But before anything else could happen, the war that broke up, or the rebellion that broke up in the countryside, became so rampant and so rife, and we know those that were contesting or who were part of that rebellion, although we know that others later on joined because there was a reason for them to do so as well. Remember, if you are not part of the state, that few cabal that was ruling, then you were really in a dilemma. I was a part of that process. I saw that transition. I was there when we could have 3 square meals a day. I mean, proper food. I'm old enough to have seen a lot of stuff that were good. I was also old enough to have seen the changes that took place. So when I speak from the heart. Okay? There are some things that are physically experienced. So bad was it that people needed a change, but the change could not happen within, it had to happen from without. But while the rebellion was going on and making advancement into the city, a group of young soldiers ran down to the city and took the reins of power. Now there are people, and some of you might be here on this broadcast, who will be privy to some of the information that will have been of high class or classified intelligence at the time. Okay? Some of you here will have been privy. Mr. Dumbuya, welcome to the show, my friend. The Sunday is good. Thank you very much for asking. Thank God. So far, so good. So a group of soldiers ran down, and those of us who were not in the know, all we heard were stories that we tried to connect the dots, but even the dots could not make sense to us. But what we knew was a coup was necessary. I remember by then I was out of the country, but I welcomed the coup. Welcome, Mr. Paul Kamara, DSM Kamara. I welcomed the coup because it was absolutely necessary. Like I said, if you were not part of that cabal, then you must have been disgruntled. And the cabal was just a tiny few, a handful of people. So there we go. The time was ripe. These guys came down and took over power. It was just a group of friends, okay? young, active, some of them articulate Sierra Leonean army guys. They too were desperate. Remember, I said earlier on about the army. The army was so demoralized. I repeat, the army, SLA, was so demoralized that something needed to happen and needed to happen quick. Now, all along with this, we are believing, or we have been made to believe, that in the backdrop was always the SLPP intellectuals pulling the strings, crafting, the way forward, and the unsuspecting government of the late Joseph Saidu Momo could not see this coming. Apparently, he wasn't sophisticated enough, or he had given up. Remember, he made a couple of speeches himself in which he appeared so humble and so human, because it's like he had lost control. So these guys ran down and they took over government. Remember names like Captain Valentine Strasser, who became the head of state. Remember Lieutenants Sassandi, Captain Solomon Musa, the Tom Numas, and the Komba Mondes. These were names, these were heavy names that loom large in that coup that happened. What we have been made to understand as well, even though this coup happened, Captain Strasser was unsuspecting that all along Bio had been planted within their midst. And when he overthrew the government of Captain Strasser, it was a plan. It was part of the plan that had to be executed. It was part of the plan that had to be executed. Okay? So when he overthrew his friend and comrade, it was part of the wider plan that had to be executed. Captain Strasser, as we know now, was overthrown on gunpoint, put on board a boat, not a boat rather, a helicopter, and sent to Guinea. Now, all of these actions have usually pointed to General Bio. Okay, somebody said they might want to join later. Of course, everybody is welcome. Gentlemen, ladies, there are some people who have just signed on. And for those who have just signed on, Sister Aissatou Shaban, welcome as usual. Always, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Okay. For those of you who are just joining, we had a series of problems. Normally, I use professional tools, here to do my broadcast. I'm not on top of issues technically, and I want to, say that publicly. But that's what I usually use. So I'm using a strange one because I had to broadcast anyhow tonight because time is catching up on us. We promised that we were going to do. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. We promised that we were going to do. And if you're watching, please, on your gadget, don't forget to click the share button and invite family and friends. Let them join in, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please. Let them join in. We had a lot of people. We are making serious gains on this program. That's why I was really disappointed with all of the research the entire week today at work, studying, looking for materials with the final manuscript. Came to do the program now. I can't get my professional instruments going. 4 different tries, and you could see a host of people in the chat room. 4 different times they give me an opportunity because I had to log off and on 4 times, and they keep coming. Eventually, I had to switch to this modem, which I'm using now. And some of them even have joined again, and I'm really grateful for that. Thank you, Sister Aissatou. So what we are talking about here today, we are making the final arguments for a process which is due in 2 days' time, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about a process that is due in 2 days' time. So we are making the final arguments. A few days ago was Kande Yumkela's National Grand Coalition. I think about 2 days ago was Dr. Wilson Samora's All People's Congress. Today, we are talking about the Sierra Leone People's Party, the oldest party in the Republic, the party of Chief Shebora Yumkela, the party of by Koblo Gulama, Madam Ella Koblo Gulama, Pat Bana, Faramatas, Sam Milton Magai, the father of the nation, his dodgy brother Albert. May all of them souls rest in peace, perfect peace. But what they aspire for this party turns out to be something different today. And they will be turning in their graves. Because these were decent, principled, upstanding Sierra Leoneans. That meant good. They had values, they had principles. But today, it's more about skullduggery and treachery. And that's the exact part where I am as we ask the question, who is Maada Bio? Okay? When they led the coup, we know a lot of things happened. Somebody said in the chat room earlier on, do you know how many people he killed? Well, of course, you will expect that in an army. Yeah, when they led a coup and things like that, overthrew a government violently, the use of weapons and etc. Okay? But what I want to state here is, when people mention the violence that they are attributing to retired Brigadier Bio, is it because of his years in the army? And during those years in the army, has he brought those traits into a civilian life? Because for you to share those things, you can take off the uniform, but the attitude, you can cultivate a different attitude, but somewhere down within your psyche is somewhere in there. Welcome, Brother Emzo Fofana. Vos Nectar, welcome, my friend. Mr. Mamadou Sidi, welcome, my friend. It's etched somewhere in his psyche, okay? So for him to unleash it, or anyone else to unleash it, it's just a matter of time of being provoked. Ray Zulu, welcome, my friend. So we saw what happened in the United States, for example, for some reason why Maada Bio cannot go to the United States. Because of a deportation order. Why was a deportation order served? Because of violence. Why? Brutalizing his wife, according to the story. But that may have been outplayed anyway. And because he's a prominent figure, so therefore it's been blown. But remember, the deportation order stands. And as we speak now, he really cannot go there. Anyway, these guys took over government. And after a while, Bio seized power from Captain Strasser in what we call a palace coup. Okay? When he seized power, the Supreme National Council was largely in agreement with him. And this council was made up of their top brass, people like Colonel Tom Newman, one of the leopards of the what you want to call a revolution then. They backed General Bio. Lieutenant Colonel Komba Monde backed General Bio, retired. One of the only Creole boys, apart from Strasser, that we know, Reginald Glover, Reggie, he backed Bio. And so was Colonel Idris Kamara. And the Karifa Kabos and others. Those names are also household names because once upon a time they were the rulers in the country. They did. But again, what we're beginning to learn was this was just part of the broader plan. Some of them knew, some of them did not. So all along, we are being made to understand now that Bio was a stooge, Bio was a foot soldier for the SLPP. But remember, by then, he wasn't sophisticated enough. But he was being used to do the bidding. Does the name and the tactics of the late President of the Republic, Dr. Alhaji Ahmed Tijan Kaba, may his soul rest in peace. Does it make sense in this context that I'm developing, in this argument that I'm developing? Was it by magic that he just came from abroad and somehow he became a director, or before a director, an advisor to the boys, and then somehow he ended up being a head of state? Was he the only qualified Sierra Leonean? Did you follow the power play, what really transpired? Have you really looked into it? Ladies and gentlemen, I said I was going to weigh my opinion into this, largely theoretical, but was going to back it with circumstantial evidence, and I'm about to throw the bomb. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So, retired Brigadier Bio, as we're beginning to understand, was a foot soldier for these architects, these main architects, these intellectual architects. They had intellectualized this entire concept that the ordinary eyes could not see it. So it was in the making, he was working, and then there was the distraction of the rebellion, and then he was cut short by a military coup, and then the flux moment, and then General Bio's sister being with the rebels whilst he was prosecuting the war, and then there are rumors that they were swapping arms, that they used to meet abroad, and etc. That even whilst he was a soldier before he became head of state, he used to cross into rebel territory, and he was one of the few that nothing could harm. And what they made the people to understand was they had this massive supernatural powers that nothing could happen to them. But today we know exactly what the score was. I mean, you can hide for some time, but you can't hide all of the time. So we're beginning to see clarity in all of this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Then and Now. I'm your host and presenter, and today we're doing a presentation in the closing arguments on the Sierra Leone People's Party and its leader, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio. Has he got unfinished business? Did he hijack the party? If the SLPP were to lose, what becomes of Bio after March 7? Is the SLPP preparing for life after Bio? And this last question lays into the fact that the SLPP is now a subject of a party in crisis, no matter how they try to paper the crack. Because when you have heavyweights, people that were committed to the party, like a caller earlier on alluded to, are breaking away from the party, either forming their own factions or going away to join others, senior people, senior officials, then of course that party is in crisis. But you yourself within cannot see it because you are all deaf and blind, because you have become power thirst, power drunk. So you have only got a tunnel vision in which you just, the name power comes into the fray. And this supposedly looks like the case in which the former brigadier, the retired brigadier, seems to be. Another brother has just joined and made a contribution, Derek Oluseyi Onifade. Tell them, my brother, we know them. He's a tribalistic person. He took over from Strasser based on tribalistic idea. There we go. So there are things that we know now that we never knew then. Karifala Mara, my brother, long time no see. I hope all is well. How's the family? How are the kids? Greetings. Mr. Victor Gaba, always there for the then and now. Welcome, my friend and brother. Okay? So this is retired brigadier. So this is what happened. We have been made to believe that he did the bidding of these people. But it was just a matter of time, because by then he was unrefined. He was not sophisticated enough to understand the power game that was being played. But as soon as he began to understand, remember, he's a smart dude. He later on became smart. Let's get it right. If you lead a coup, some people may not agree, but that's just a fact of life. He led a coup. And a coup requires planning. It's careful planning because it's your life at stake. It's careful planning, logistical issues, security issues. I know some people will come up with stories as well, like where somebody held his hand, and put him on the seat. Those kind of conspiracy theory. No, we are talking about reality here. So he wasn't that dumb. But yes, of course, from the beginning, he was being programmed, he was being directed. But when he got to taste power and knew what it was, he started doing his own work. That's why shortly before then, before he could hand over, he was beginning to drag his feet. There were two minds. The evidence is largely looming. This is where people, okay, somebody wants to join the video. This is why people, you want to join the video, if you can send your request again, I'll be happy to add you so that we can hear from you. Okay, if you want to do a video call, you can send your request and I will add you. I will try to send you an invitation. But let me make some progress. But before I make some progress, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, we've also got plans here. We said it a long time ago, and we are kind of winding down now, and this is what the closing argument is. And this is it. We started off with the National Grand Coalition of Dr. Kande Yumkela. We went on to Dr. Samora Kamara's All People's Congress Today we are talking about the Sierra Leone People's Party. In 2 days' time, which will be the eve of the election, we are trying to organize a festive activity for ourselves. We have to be in a celebratory mood. You know something, ladies and gentlemen, to win, somebody will have to lose, and we have to take care of on the chin and move on. This is what good, mature people do. Remember, there's only one country. Therefore, must be one people. We can have our differences now, but when that decision is made, we have to try and respect it. Don't burn bridges. Let's build them. Okay? So we are going to be organizing a kind of jamboree, a festival, a carnival, if you like, right on this program, the then and now. Hope the professional equipment will be up and running by then, so that we can have callers of all stripes calling here and making predictions. We want to hear from the lawyers, people from all professional walks of life. Magdalene Mayonga, wow. Magdalene, how are you, my sister? I hope all is well. Long time no see. Welcome to the show, my dear. So we'll have a kind of festival. You make a call. We're calling on all the professional, lawyers, auditors, statisticians, and you name it. Just come and make a contribution, whether it's 1 minute contribution, you want to crunch the numbers and etc. We're absolutely looking up to that. It's going to be like a basketball game. You can make your contribution, you retire, and you can come back again when you feel like. You can see a comment that you don't agree with. You can come back, here and rebut whatever statement that is being made. But we want it in a friendly atmosphere, just like we are always having on this channel. Somebody has just put there, I hope peace will be in our sweet Sierra Leone after them hand over power. Of course, we are hoping for that. We should learn a lesson from neighboring Liberia. It used to be the same case in Liberia. But since 1941, that's what used to happen. But this election won by George Opomane Weah, the current president, is the fairest. It's the only one since 1941 where there has been no violence, nothing recorded. So I wish we will follow that pattern. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about retired Brigadier Maada Bio and his Sierra Leone People's Party. So Maada Bio overthrew his friend Captain Strasser. He was being programmed by his programmers in the back. But as soon as he got to taste power, as soon as he got to understand what the issues were, he started planning things on his own. This is why I said he's not dumb like we think. He's got brains. He overthrew a government. And later on, 20 years on, this guy is being on the national scene. I know there are people that are contesting, well, he has not worked for 20 years. And I know people are contesting, oh, he got money and took some money. So you see why I was talking about circumstantial cases that are available. So we talk about money. So if he was given money, you have to ask, why was he rewarded? Why would you be rewarded for handing over power? And why would you be rewarded by your government for handing over power? Because you're a people's person. But of course, all of this was planned in the back room. So that has to occur, because for you to finally give it up, the actions, the plans, the arrangements, the objectives will have been met. Okay? So we are talking about retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio. Okay? We talk about how he came to prominence, and that was it. He overthrew his friend in a palace coup. He became the head of state himself for a few months. Somebody said 90 days, but is engraved forever in the history of the country. Mr. Spain, welcome again, my friend. Okay, it's engraved there. So Bio is now enjoying financial prospect, and I hear people complain, well, where he doesn't have money, he's gone broke and etc. No, he's not that dumb. We keep looking at him as such. This man has been on the political scene now for 20 some more years and is still relevant. He's hijacked, I use the word hijacked, a major political party, ran other people away from the party, people of prominence ran them away from the party, and today he and his cohorts are in control of the party, and they are contesting a national election which is due in 2 days' time. This is retired Brigadier Maada Bio. Okay? He came to understand, and he matured during that short period when he was head of state, when he was dealing with all of these people. I mentioned earlier on the name Ali Kaba. Does anyone there, Alice Correra, welcome my sister. Does anyone there remember the name or recall the name Ali Kaba as to the then as opposed to now? Who was he? Where was he? Where is he now? Does it make sense? Is it all beginning to fall in? Is it all beginning to make sense? The James Jonas, the late Pakaba, who was an advisor, and the whole setup, the Bintumani thing, the whole setup, this was of a higher nature, a higher class, far beyond us. Yes, hello, my dear sister. Syrian, welcome to the show again, my sister. Thank you so much for staying true to the channel. So far beyond us. So all of this was cooked, planned, and hatched. So while all of this was going on, you remember at some point in our history, there was a sudden pop-up. Remember, we're talking about the intellectual or the intellect of the planners, who are largely Southerners. And remember, we also said that SLPP had been confined to history because the nature of the state at then is just clear. It was a one-party state. The only existing party was the APC. No one else could contest because it was a law that only one party existed. So you could see that there was a reason, a motive enough for other parties to begin to find different ways on how to relaunch themselves. It's just a fact. So the SLPP was doing this in the background. They didn't just take this line down, but they had to find a way to do it discreetly, high up, in an intelligent fashion, in an intellectual level, in a different realm. That some of the actors within themselves did not even know what the real plan was, but they took part, but they didn't know. Okay? They didn't know. When Maada himself allegedly was being programmed earlier on, he was not aware. You would have just been told by your caretaker or your planner, this is what I want you to do. This is what you need to do. That's what you need to do. But if you're smart enough over a period of time, you begin to get it. You begin to figure it out. Your processing, begin to increase. You begin to download. And when you upload, things that make enough sense and begin to think how you're going to hatch your plan yourself. That's what he did. So he's a smart guy. Don't rule him out. So what I'm saying is, during the time when he overthrew his friend, if we recollect and keep on jogging your memory, there was this sudden pop-up, okay, of civil societies. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen? There were many that came up at the time. It did not occur to us at the time because it was like empowering and what have you. This is something of a new nature that was taking place in the country, which was good anyway. But there was a reason behind it. And some of this was, or most of these civil societies that came up, do you know that they had Southeastern origin? I mean, we only need to sit back now and look. I've got the benefit of hindsight. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying, and I'm saying it with confidence because, yes, indeed, I have got the benefit of hindsight. So I'm saying it. It had a tinge, a taste, a smell of Southeastern origin. But they were clever enough to dot them just a little bit to give them a different coloring, a different taste, a different dimension in terms of demography, a different demography, so that it can have, some sort of, if you're not looking at it, holistically, you will have a feel or think that, well, the Northerners are there. They've got Northerners, and then the Southeasterners. But take a look back, ladies and gentlemen, and see exactly what I'm saying. This was it. Remember? Remember the campaign for good governance? The National Commission for Democracy? These were all SLPP outfits, my friend. This is true. General Bio knows that. A lot of people out there knows that. And we know these things now, like I was saying, I'm talking with the benefit of hindsight. These organizations were used to put pressure, to mount pressure on retired Brigadier Bio. Because the people were becoming apprehensive, his masters. They were becoming apprehensive. This guy, he might not want to leave power or he's not going to leave power. Remember, at that kind of time is critical. whether he was going to leave or not, you know, yeah, you are still apprehensive. Is he going to leave? Because you've seen what we're talking about. He's got an idea, you know, yeah, we need to do something. So they started doing different designs. But all has to be within the look of democracy, because they have to impress their international or outside masters to understand that all of this is democratic. So we're talking about civil society groups. And we're seeing them springing up again. They could be the making of someone else, ain't calling no names. Okay, so this was all an outfit of these people who were planning, you know, to eventually take over power. Or eventually, Maada Bio had to succumb to higher power. He had to, you know, give up power. Indeed, he had to. But before he did, and this is the thing which is being rumored, which some say is a conspiracy, could be. But again, remember, I told you that I was going to be weighing my opinion. I was going to be suggesting. I was going to be giving you what my convictions are on this issue. But at the same time, I will be providing circumstantial evidence so that you have a look yourself, ladies and gentlemen, and you make the decision with the information I'm providing. I'm creating a timeline. I am creating the timeline so you can make the decision yourself. And I'm providing some circumstantial evidence. I haven't dropped the bomb yet in terms of the circumstantial evidence, but I'm giving you some of it. But it will all filter down to one thing. Okay? It will all filter down to one thing. So Maada decided to give up power with the arrangement. With all of this, somebody earlier on in the chat room was saying, I cannot remember when last we hear light don't come na salon. Yes, Syrian, APC is the only way forward for Salon at this point. Yeah, yes, I've got a lot of people saying it, but I want to reserve. Of course, you can feel free for making comments, you know, yeah, for making comments there. I like that as well, because that kind of spark the debate and etc., which is very good. But today I want to focus on this SLPP and Maada Bio, retired Brigadier Maada Bio. But all of this, what we're saying in the chat room, will come to life in 2 days' time when we go organize the final closing argument. And that program, they will last really, really long, because we will carry on and allow people then for coming and go sleep and wake up and come. We'll be celebrating a jamboree, a festival, a carnival, whichever way you want to call them. Yeah. But everybody is entitled to their opinion, and you can say them and feel free. Everybody is welcome to this channel. But back again to the SLPP and Brigadier Bio. So in the end, General Bio finally retired. He hand over power. I'm just reading some of the chat room, so it's making me to laugh. He hand over power, okay? When he hand over power, we got to remember something, say, around the same 1996, just before he hand over power. This is not the reason they want to say this guy in clever. He get a company, you know, like where he organized an offshore company. So you see, he knows planning. He gets some idea. He had a company called P. Benga Investment. Okay? And at that company, now he use, because now your own company, so you're confident with them. Now they use for let he make let them pay money them where he feels the government or where government for game. Ladies and gentlemen, you can investigate that. The company is called P. Benga Investment Limited. That was a company owned by former Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, the current leader of the Sierra Leone People's Party, SLPP. Yeah. General Bio, the controversial part continue. Allow government for pay boku money inside our account there. Okay? That's the tell where government is cash strapped because we just the real back coming from war and trying to develop into something. And this is the thing. So a huge sum of money was paid into that account. Okay? And you know that under General Bio, retired Brigadier Bio himself, there was this issue about passport scandal. Okay? There was this issue about passport scandal, which is true. He's admitted to it in public. It is true. The passports, Sierra Leonean passports, were sold to foreigners. And he said at the time, I mean now, that they were sold because they needed to generate money to prosecute the war. He thought that's a decent enough excuse. But that's treasonous to sell your country's passports. But today, the decision is not mine, of course, but that's not a small thing to do. And using the proceeds to prosecute a war is not excuse enough. But he generated a huge sum from the sales of passport. So you see the irony there, to prosecute war, the proceeds to prosecute war, but then you benefited almost to the tune of $500,000. So people who think that this guy is broke, you think that this guy will have squandered all of this money because he made quite some sum before leaving in that short period of time. Those that were promised to him, those that he actually got. Exactly, my sister, imagine that. So he's not stupid. That's why he's still relevant. That's why you see he's up and down. But as a soldier, he's disciplined enough to massage his inner feelings, try to make himself appear like a statesman, which he's been once as an head of state, give a different persona about his personality, which he maintain now by wearing suit and ties and jackets. Okay, but you can't rule that man out as being broke. So it generates over $500,000 or almost $500,000 from the sale of passports, which money was deposited in that particular account that he owned. Okay, P Banga Investment Limited. And now I'm about to drop the bombshell because we've been going on for a while and we're going to need for roundup. Okay, we're going to need for roundup. Brother Joe Tucker, welcome back. I don't think you'll be able for call, so we know you, but we will be coming up with the closing argument, and I hope you will have solved your problem regarding calling because we want to see you live. I know your brother that can bring flavor to the argument because it's going to be heated. Welcome anyway. Yes, he came to the USA and bought a lot of properties. There we go. So this man is not stupid. Exactly. Thank you, Sister Isatu. I've done a lot of research behind this because I didn't know this as well, and I used to hear the argument a lot. But now that I understand, what really happened, and like I said, I'm about to drop the bomb because we are approaching closing time because I've been just meant to do this for an hour. Where the Chinese then bring one gunboat, okay, and a landing craft. This now under Pakaba now, okay. This happened around 1997. Pakaba, they on record. You know something? I they recommend Pakaba in book. First of all, I've been feel say this work and a small work for do, to be honest. I've been feel saying for can't don't talk. Just sit down and just talk. Sister Marisa Amina Aziz Sanko, welcome, my sister. I just thought, you're for sit down and talk because I know a lot, geopolitics and etc. But no, there is so much time, it's so much time consuming that all week I find out that I can't even listen to news, I can't even do anything. That's why I was so determined, for broadcast today. Sister Salimatu Tarawali, welcome to the show. Medma Kamara, welcome to the show. Welcome to you all. I thought it's just to sit down, and, broadcast. But no, if you want quality, which are the pride this channel on, then I'm spending hours and hours that when I was even studying, I wasn't doing that. But now I find out that hours upon hours looking for research materials. So that's how I come up with these. That's why I like to allude them to fact. But I was saying, I am recommending the book written by the former head of state, the former president of Sierra Leone, the late Dr. Alhaji Tijan Kaba, Coming Back from the Brink in Sierra Leone. That's the name of the book. Coming Back from the Brink in Sierra Leone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm recommending this book to you. If you want to get to the inside of what happened, although he kept some, but at least he was able to say some that made us to have an idea, and the rest of the dots, we can connect them ourselves. So I advise you go on Amazon, go on eBay, and try to get a book by the late Dr. Alhaji Ahmad Tijan Kaba, Coming Back from the Brink in Sierra Leone. But this is what no other person but the late Tijan Kaba said about Mr. Bio, retired General Bio. At the handing over of some material, boats and gunboats, okay? Then at the handing over ceremony, and this now I'm quoting, I am quoting now, quote, the late President Kaba. This contract, yeah, I am quoting the late President Kaba, yeah, that this contract, right, that this contract was entered into between the NPRC government, that's the National Provisional Ruling Council, yeah. That's my daughter's pet there. She's missing me now. Yeah, hello there. Yeah. Between the ruling provisional council, no, please don't come make trouble here. I'm about to end this program. Between the National Provisional Council, okay, that's the government at the time of retired Brigadier Bio, for the supply, ladies and gentlemen, for the supply of a 35-year-old naval patrol boat. Guess what is the cost? I'm still quoting the late President Kaba. $5.5 million US for a 35-year-old naval gunboat. I am quoting the late President Ahmad Tijan Kaba, and look up my book, Coming Back from the Brink in Sierra Leone. I'll read your program, your contribution shortly, Alicia. Okay? $5.5 million for a 35-year-old gunboat. So $5.5 million on the gunboat. And we say that guy is broke. Brother Arthur Nicol, Scotland Nicol, welcome to the show, my dear brother. Thank you for participating tonight. We're almost coming to the end, but very good to see you. We'll be doing the closing argument in 2 days' time. Join this channel at 8 p.m. and make some contribution all the way from Freetown, Sierra Leone, Brother Arthur Scotland Nicol. Welcome to the show. So a 35-year-old gunboat, I'm quoting President Ahmad Tijan Kaba. Wow, my sister Aisatu. Wow, Syrian. This is fact from President Kaba. And when I try and get him book, Coming Back from the Brink in Sierra Leone. 35-year-old naval patrol boat at the cost of $5.5 million. That was a contract between the NPRC government and the Chinese, the supplier of this boat, the Chinese government. Okay? And of course, the government, it was a contract, the government had to honor it. Yeah? So the man made money from this. He also made money from the passports, almost $500,000. And we say he's broke. No, I don't agree. So I've provided the circumstances enough. So when it comes to the issue of Pakaba and the SLPP, Famulem, una really think say this now by some stroke of luck? I mean, you can be lucky at times. I know that you can be lucky. But owing to the fact of the story that I've just outlined, I've provided timeline, I've provided circumstances, I've provided names, I've provided dates. Do you think that this was just a stroke of luck? That Pakaba Komoti don't retire yanda with all waiting in the happen to run then? Remember, I think the SLPP, I mean the government of the army, now they restore in property them on a momo. Are they confused with our timeline? Let me leave that. I'm not too sure about that. But then he don't retire. We know say he retired from the UN and came back, and then he joined them about them as advisor. But all along, the plan was already set. Okay? All along, we know that the plan was already set. And among the intellectuals that I told you about earlier, Pakaba seems to have been the one on top of the game. Remember, he was a respected then internationalist. He left the country in shame. I hate to go back there because, I mean, the man is dead now, he's gone, and then pardon him and etc., returning property. But because for the sake of the record, he left the country in shame, and then he come back and then pardon him, then returning property, and I think apologize to him because the court looked into the case and thought that there was a case of wrongdoing. Okay? But when he came back, he became the advisor to the NPRC, and eventually he happened to look like he was the chief architect of the intellectuals them. Now, in a demand we been there behind the plan on top of the game. Okay? And I'm not saying this ordinarily. Go back again. I'm encouraging you to make sure that you buy his book. Yeah, exactly, Syrian. He's not broke, but people keep saying, oh, he messed his money up in Ghana in transport. That's a joke. You know, when I started doing the research about this, that's when I realized that this is a joke. But we are coming to the end of this program, and I'm just throwing the bomb that what I'm saying now is factually correct according to the late President of the Republic, Ahmed Tijan Kaba, may his soul rest in peace. He made us to understand that Bio made a deal with the Chinese government for a 35-year-old naval gunboat costing government $5.5 million. Of course, he got some proceeds from there. On the issue of the passport scandal, he also happened to get over $400,000, almost $500,000. This is not joke money that we are talking about. There's also another money, probably hush-hush money that was paid into that very account, Banga Investment Limited, over 235,000 leones at the time. At the time. And you telling me that guy is broke? We need for rethink, or let us go back and begin to do our research. It's no longer the case. Thank you very much, Mr. John Kanu. We aspire for bring facts. That's why we spend a greater part of what we do researching, so that we bring facts, or we separate the chaff from the substance. So thank you very much for that kind sentiment, sir, Mr. Kanu. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, there are a couple of things that President Kaba, this now after President Kaba don't resign, in wisdom, in infinite wisdom, is he don't serve, you know, yeah, he don't do in do. He decide for he don't serve, look back. He say, I think I need for write a book. I really need for tell me this story, because there was so much that happened, and when you read the book, you know, say, he not talk all. He left beaucoup. I hope say he get a manuscript somewhere where there's to remember under he in watch. Fodi Sanko, the RUF. Fodi Sanko in Taiwan, in Capture One, now the gunboat, Lome, Peace Accord. There was so much. This could be a buster, a block movie over and over. You could get a sequel. Yeah. High-class, intriguing drama of political level, never before dreamt of in that country, and play out with foreign friends, then the Nigerians, the Sandlines, the British, the House of Parliament. This is big time, I tell you. So you not talk anything. This is big time. Maybe one day we'll be able to see it on film or on encyclopedia kind of book. I mean, with thick volume. This is big time. This is not joke. So Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, by then virtue, not a small guy, you know, because he did in the know as well. He is in the know, and he got changed. You can prove that because Pakaba in infinite wisdom, where he don't resign, decide for Sidon, and then he say, you know what, I need for write a book. I need for tell part of this story. Yeah, I really need for tell part of this story. Yes, my brother Seth just confirmed to that. Mr. Arthur Scotland Nicol, thank you very much. Maada is not broke. He's only pretending to be broke. And that's why I said earlier on, you get for watch the guy, the way the guy comport himself for these past many years, avoiding public scrutiny because the money allegedly will be corrupt money. And if you allow people then for lay eye, and who know which deal did they sign before he hand over? Maybe he was provided with immunity. That's possible. These kind of things do happen. Okay, and all you need for doing for lie low, not they go flash. No, you don't do that. But when they look at these things now, as was said by Tijan Kaba, ladies and gentlemen, please buy this book coming from the brink in Sierra Leone. It is on Amazon, very reasonable. You can get it in hard copy, you can get it in e-book. Okay, so he's not. So President Kaba also said this thing about Maada Bio. Remember, they talk about a couple of things then with that passé. But this in book way, right way, if I be not title and tell all, and then he tell we all the story, because like I said, there was so much that happened. The NPRC government, and this go back to waiting people let me they say earlier on, because either people go don't read this story or been there in the know. And I just fact, you don't just give up power. No, you don't just give up power. Mr. Usman TCC, welcome to the program, sir. Maada Bio, he's a destroyer. Okay. You don't just give up power. So, of course, if them in the background, they manipulate things and they want this guy for go. So, of course, if Pakaba come back and say that these people, that's the NPRC, and you know, they talk about Strasser again because Strasser was long gone in freedom overthrown. He's now talking about Maada Bio, the foot soldier. I quote Pakaba, the NPRC grudgingly gave up power. Okay? The NPRC grudgingly gave up power. Dana Pakaba na say so. And for quoting exact words, the NPRC regime grudgingly yielded to the holding of elections only after persistent outcry from civil society and others. Remember, I'll talk about the civil society. They were planted there for reasons, and most of them had connections from the southeast. We've got the benefit of hindsight, so we are saying it. Check the facts. They are there. So now Pakabade confessed to that in Intel, saying that the regime grudgingly yielded to the holding of elections only after persistent outcry from civil societies and others. Who were the civil societies? Above all, who were the others? Ask yourself that question. It's largely rhetorical, but provide the answers. Provide the answers, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So this is how much we know. Okay? We know, say, in 2005, General Bio, retired brigadier, he sought the leadership of the SLPP. But better not happy for her. I think, say, on that contest day, he came third place. Behind, I think the vice president then, Joe Demby. Was it Joe Demby or Berewa? One of them. And then, who next you had? Magai, Charles Magai. Yeah. But Demby had, I think, 200, almost 300 votes. And the second man, Charles Magai, had about 30 some votes. I think 34, 35. And Bio had, I think, 33 votes. Imagine that was in 2005. He's also on record, and this is the violent streak that we are talking about, although he said this was taken out of context. He said that he will overthrow the APC government if they win again. Bio is on record for saying that, but when he was challenged on that statement, Bio said, no, they took it out of context. Yeah, he meant that if the APC was to come to power and exist in a state in which the people will suffer as they did back then before the Captain Strasser coup, then of course he will be tempted to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep in mind that he cannot visit the USA because of violence. Okay, he cannot. But he was there for a little while after he left government, but was given a deportation order. He did practice some trade, some politics, and he was involved with some other economic activities. But all I have been hearing about is Ghana, Ghana, Ghana. Bio is far more sophisticated and goes beyond Ghana. I do know this now. Welcome, Mr. Jondo. I do know this now. Okay, so we'll not forget for buy the book. Yeah, I will not forget for buy the book. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this broadcast. For those of you who are just joining, a recap just quickly. We are holding our closing arguments for the theme that we organized from the beginning of this process, which was elections, or which is elections special # Sierra Leone decides. We ran a lengthy campaign on that. We talk about the different parties. We talk about the different heads of the different parties. We weigh in on the presidential debate. We invited some guests into the house here, high-profile guests. We had Mrs. Syrian Baby Kamara, an FGM facilitator who's been on national TV, Sky TV, BBC TV. She was here, right here on this channel then and now, talking about her convictions, her beliefs, for her country going forward. We also had evangelist Winston Crispin Weber, commonly known as TM, team manager. who is also well-known and a well-respected and upright man in the community, we came together and unpacked 5 hours and 30 minutes of presidential debate, first time in the history of the country. We then move on to make closing arguments. We started again with Dr. Kande Yumkela's National Grand Coalition. We then went on to Samora Kamara All People's Congress, the ruling party. And today we finish off with Sierra Leone People's Party of retired Brigadier Maada Julius Bio. Okay, Maada Julius Bio. We finish with the three. We know that there are potentially 13 other parties aspiring to be, okay? But we try to deal with the major ones. No offense to the minor ones, but these are the major ones. We know at some point in political histories and elections, somehow the minor ones, those are the margins, can be thrown into the limelight because of the configuration of results, runoffs, and etc. But as our brother came up earlier on and told this panel, this broadcast, it's a one-off. And he cannot break it down. I had to tell him to cease fire because to finally land, we are having the final discussion on this all-wonderful program on election special, hashtag Sierra Leone decides, closing arguments, which will take place on the eve, on the 6th of March, 2018. That's the eve of the election, in which we hope to have like a festive kind of atmosphere in which we'll be discussing everything, and people from all different stripes will be having a merry, merry time, a really merry time. You can call in, it will be almost like a basketball game. You can go out and come back, you can go sleep, you can go eat and come back, whichever way, but that's what we want to do, and that's what this channel wants to do, and that's the direction we want to go. We are also prepared for life after this process, because after March 7, and a couple of days, probably a week later, we will know the winner. And then we'll hold a program, and then we will divert into different aspects of broadcasting. We might be inviting our sister here again to talk exceptionally about female genital mutilation, or some people call mutilation, some people call circumcision. We will be calling again on Pastor Evangelist Crispin Weber. We'll be calling on DJs, people from all different walks of life, the community, because what we aspire to do in this channel is to bring the community together as one people. Let's remember something. Let's not burn bridges. Let's remember that we have only got one country. Let's not try to burn it down. Let's remember that for somebody to win, somebody will have to lose. Let's respect the results of the election. Those that are trying to incite violence and sitting in the comfort with their families and friends abroad, far away from the real action itself, they should desist from doing that, because that is quite disingenuous. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I've said enough, but on a final note, I want to commend all of those who have taken part in this program. I know we are far less than we expected, but this channel is making waves. It's causing problems out there in terms of popularity, and I want to say that. I want to commend you, the people. We had a serious problem of breakdown in communication this evening in terms of technical problem, so I could not use my usual professional gadgets, so I had to resort to this because I had to broadcast to you anyhow. It is you that is providing the fuel for me to keep on going. Without you, I would be nothing. So I commend you, I salute you. On this note, I want to say thank you very much and have a pleasant good evening until we see again in 2 days' time on the eve of the election on the 6th of March. This is Prince Krumah, your host and presenter of the channel. Then and now saying good night for now. Goodbye.